Steve, what's up, brother? Sweet, man.
Great day for it.
Yes,
Beautiful
sir.
day.
Steve. We've just been having a good chat, but yeah, 8K run.
Nice 8Ks, yeah.
I haven't done a run like that in a while, so legs feeling sore, but yeah, no, it was a pleasure to actually train with someone for the first time in a while.
Absolutely, yeah. It's always good to get together.
Yeah, man, thanks for coming down. So you're living in Gili, which is an epic island in Indonesia.
Yep.
And traveling now around Bali. But I'd love to just hear a little bit about, what sort of led you to this sort of island lifestyle, living on a beautiful paradise island of Gili.
So, again, I think after, obviously quite a few years, originally from the UK, and just got really frustrated and bogged down by the pace of life, the consumerism, and always this desire to travel, really. So it felt really important to constantly travel whenever I got the opportunity. And then towards the back end in 2019, made the decision to come to Indonesia for 8 weeks. And then, as we all know, beginning of 2020, the pandemic started, and so I made that conscious decision to stay here. And yeah, 6 years later, still living the dream. It's beautiful. Originally, the plan was to be in Bali, but recognised that it was probably a little bit busier than I wanted it to be. And so the island I'm on, there's nothing motorised. It's all horse and cart, and bicycle or feet, really. So it's a nice, simple way of life.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, I need to go check it out, to be honest. But yeah, just living in this side of the world's been, it's been really amazing lifestyle-wise. Just having that, ability not to have to be in the city grind. Be able to go and enjoy, beautiful scenery, the ocean, good lifestyle, good quality food. So, I think the best countries to live in the past 20 years are not the best countries to live in anymore.
No,
you know what I'm saying?
Sure.
Even being from the UK, and so I lived in the UK for a while, in South Africa, but I think I had a very similar experience to you with what you were saying, is that sort of grind was quite tough. But yeah, from your perspective, man, what is your sort of philosophy to health and fitness, and the way you sort of approach the way you live your life, really? Because a lot of what I know from you is you're an example of the stuff you teach. You obviously have a military background as well, so health and fitness has always been there. I know you cycled,
yeah.
You run, you're a barefoot shoe warrior. So yeah, what's your sort of philosophy to health and fitness?
Just being consistent, I think. I think it's important just showing up for yourself every day, and I make an effort. That's not strictly true. It's not an effort. I make the time every day to train, trying to get the nutrition right, and just making that time and prioritising myself, really. And the underlying reason for majority of what I do is I want to be able to inspire other people to continue that journey. I have a daughter in the UK who, and I just want her to look at me as a good example of what's possible as we age, really. So yeah, it always feels important to be able to do that. In the UK, I was surrounded by people who'd almost kind of given up, really. They were where they were. They were defined by a number, by their age, and I just never wanted to be in that mindset, that belief system, really. So yeah, it was always important to be out there and train.
And it's interesting what you say there. From your perspective, what do you think is important about health and fitness for the sort of average Joe? What would life look like if they were to sort of get their shit together?
Oh, absolutely amazing. I think just that freedom to move, and whether that be picking up grandkids or carrying your shopping from the car to the house and going up and downstairs, just to be able to do that without creaking and moaning and groaning. And there are some amazing examples of people out there doing some incredible stuff these days. And so yeah, I think just to be able to get into the second half of life in a different place, mentally and physically, because of course, if the mind is strong, the body will follow, really, and vice versa. If the body's strong, the mind can follow. So I think just to kind of pair those two together and just to push into the second half of life. I read something interesting recently that for the majority of people, the second half of life starts about 38 years of age, and so yeah, people used to, seem to think about around about 50 is the second stage, but when you think about 38, that's that's a big wake-up call for a lot of people, I think.
Yeah. No, it's interesting what you say there. I think a lot of people, well, from what I understand, it's like everyone would be like, okay, you're 30 now, it's all downhill from here.
Yeah.
Like your back starts to creak, your knees start to go all weird, and I'm like, flipping hell, bro, like that's crazy. Like I've been lucky enough to have some examples of people who are in amazing shape, up to 70, 80, like still cycling, still running, still doing really amazing things. And I think it's so important to actually let people know that it doesn't have to go downhill. Yeah. And actually you can age like fine wine. Like you can be fit, be healthy, and actually enjoy like a high quality of life. Because I think one of the saddest things I saw when I was living in the UK was, the elderly people are in terrible nick. Yeah. You walk around any of those, sort of those shopping malls, whatever, and it's like wheelchairs, it's crutches, it's this, it's ailments, So I mean, from your perspective, like what do you think is the cause of that in our society for elder people?
I think certainly from the UK side, I think there's the struggle with the NHS. There's a struggling system that just can't meet the demands of people, and I think again there's that ageing population now. The population that are in their 70s and 80s now have obviously come through some tough days over the last 70 or 80 years, since having gone through sort of all the food issues on the back of the war, and they're a very different mindset. And I think they very much of that mindset that they get to a point, you maybe get to 50 and you slow down. I think when you make that conscious decision to slow down, then mind and the brain are only going in the same direction, really. So I think to stay positive, to be energized, to focus on, it can be those small incremental changes. They don't have to be earth-shattering changes. It's the small things. It's the setting the routines. It's the focusing on nutrition, hydration, good sleep, keeping the mind strong. Those simple things to start with, really.
Yeah, and why do you think the healthcare system doesn't teach people that? Because all those things that you said are accessible immediately.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, if someone really kind of understood those things, it's really interesting. But I mean, I'd be interested to hear your sort of perspective on that. Like, why is that not like common knowledge for people?
Again, I think I have a lot of friends of mine who are in the medical profession who, and a lot of it's not part of their education either. They're not taught to, they're taught to triage. They put a bandage over a problem or a sticky plaster on a problem, and that analogy can be used for for life as well. Really, it's just not going into the root cause of the problem. A lot of the way the system's gone in the UK with the NHS now, a lot of it's the appointments have been done by phone. And what historically or traditionally would have been hands-on, face-to-face stuff has been done by phone. And of course, if you're already sitting at home struggling and you're not getting out of the house to have that human connection, that face-to-face conversation, then I think you're much more likely to get a positive result from somebody if you can look them in the eye and ask them to do it, as opposed to tell them down the phone or give them an exercise sheet and send them away. And yeah, I just think that people get the exercise sheet, they'll put it in the drawer when they get home, and that's probably the last time it sees the light of day, really. So yeah,
it's really quite sad. And I think what was coming up for me when you said that was the isolation side of things. It's like a lot of I think one of my best mates, his grandma lives in Yorkshire, but her husband died a few years ago, so she lives completely by herself in like a small house, and I think they send like someone to go check in on her like maybe once or twice a week, but like when they go and visit her now for Christmas, like there's a few things like like she just can't really take care of herself anymore.
Yeah.
And so like she started to like slowly like just not even take care of herself in a way, like because there's nothing really to live for at that stage.
No,
it's
right.
like really isolating, and like when I hear that, my heart breaks to even know that someone's living like that. And I think it's also got something to do with the fact that I was taught in South Africa, it was like respect your elders and like look after your elders as well. It's like very, very important. Yeah. And I feel like sometimes that could be lost as well. But it's just I personally think if there was more onus put onto health and fitness and looking after yourself, you're not going to have to be landlocked in your house. You're not going to have to be stuck in a wheelchair or paying the NHS or going to doctor's appointments or getting stuffed with drugs for the rest of your life.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And I think, of course, everybody, you can jump into a medicine cabinet or go to a chemist and get whatever you need, but I think there's so much information out there now about different ways of living life. And one of the things I love about being here is that the culture here is very much about using the land, living off nature. And a lot of the people on the island where I'm living, just you talk to me, you've got a headache or you've got a sore stomach, and they will give you a plant. They will go into the jungle, they'll bring something out, they will grind it in a little pot, and they will add some water or whatever they do, and it works. It's incredible. And just going back to what you were saying there, I kind of went through it firsthand. My grandmother, incredible woman who lived her entire life. She was an amazing singer, and up until she was 80, she would go to church, she would play the organ in the church on a Sunday, and she was part of various choirs and various bits and pieces. And she turned 80, and I remember going to visit her not long after her 80th birthday, and she started using a walking stick. And I'm saying to her, what are you doing, Gran? And she said, well, I'm 80 now, I'm old. And she, from that 80th birthday, she never drove a car again, and within 2 years she'd passed away. And I'm convinced it was mindset, and because it was just incredible to see this woman and she stopped going to church, she stopped playing the organ, and she told all of her friends that she was too old to do that anymore. And it was a mindset thing, and I'm like, whoa, that just blows me away that you could think yourself into that some early grave situation. It just it blows my mind that the power of the mind. And of course, flip that on its head, the power of the mind can also be a super positive thing. If you can think your way out of so many ailments, problems, issues, and so and I think it's taught me a lot about being here, just to slow down, to take that time, and also recognizing that there's never a wrong time to do this. I was 50 when I left the UK. Most people at 50 thinking about going to the pub on a weekend, catching up with the mates and watching the football, and and those kind of things. That I couldn't think of anything that would scare me more, really.
Yeah. Wow, that's really fascinating to hear, and I think it just highlights how important the mind is in this whole thing, and that if you believe you're old and you're dying and you're sick and you're all of these sort of things, it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy, and it happens really quick.
Yeah, it does, too quick.
Because if it's such a mindset thing. You hear people talk about it all the time. It's like, if you can dream it, you can do it. All of these things. But at the end of the day, we're authors of our own life.
Yeah.
In the sense that we think about something, we imagine it, and then we have the ability to bring that into reality.
Yeah.
And that's the beauty of creation. It's like, the purest form of that to some degree is having a child, for example. It's like a child's a twinkle in your eye. The process of creation happens between a man and a woman. Baby comes out, boom, you've brought a life into the world. That's incredible.
Yeah.
And the same goes for everything we do on a daily basis. Same goes for business.
Yeah.
You have a business idea, you think about it, you write it down, you let that idea gestate for a while, and then it blossoms. Or either it doesn't blossom or it does blossom. And I think it all comes down to the environment that you have the idea in.
Yeah.
And so it's the same way that it's so luscious around Bali because the soil is lush.
Yeah.
It's got nutrients in it. And so the same thing is, if you're in an environment where it's negativity, it's, oh my God, aging, you pretty much are dead when you get to 80, you need a walking stick. That's not a fertile environment.
No, that's right.
That's like trying to plant a seed in like a flipping cement mixer or like a flipping gravel pathway. Like it's never going to grow.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so, how can you find an environment where it's fertile and it's rich, and you drop an idea in and it boom blows up into a beautiful, huge forest?
Yeah.
And so that's the importance, I think, of environment. And part of the reason we moved from the UK to come to somewhere where the people are more entrepreneurial, people are like seeing the world in a little bit of a different way. It really helps, because if I have an idea, I want to do something, I feel very empowered to do it. I don't feel like society is like overcroaching on me, and I think it's exactly the same in business and in brand building, and a lot of the work that you're doing now, like with getting your message out there, and it's fantastic. And that's an idea that's now going to blossom and grow, and evolve. It's the same way, you know, that lady kind of gave up at 80. It's like she didn't have a fertile environment, and what if she did? From early on, she might have been healthy and walking and having a good quality of life.
Yeah, and I think one of the things I enjoy about the Bravebrand community, really, when we do the weekly calls, is it takes so much away from, you know, not just your input, but the value that everybody brings to the table. Really, I think, you know, certainly when I started out on this journey, I thought it was very much a me and you connection kind of thing, you know, and actually appreciating now that there is so much going on in the background and we're all on the same journey. And I think just, you know, some people might be one step ahead of you, some people one step behind, but I think just to have those, you know, global connections, you know, and everybody with the same idea of just wanting to be of service to humanity, to society, and give something back, really, I think it's pretty cool.
Yeah, man. And so we've been doing a challenge, the Courageous Challenge, the Do You Have the Courage Challenge, and which is basically a challenge to just get out there and start taking messy action as a big fuck you to perfection, pretty much. Which has been, I mean, for me it's been pretty expansive. Like I've been, you know, just going for it. You know, like I think I posted a video yesterday which like the quality was pretty blurry on my face. Like I never would have done that in the past.
Yeah.
It would have had to be like 4K resolution, like beautiful, perfect. And I was like, fuck it. Like I thought it was good content, so I'm happy. But from your perspective, man, like, you know, you've been in the ring now, you're posting, you're publishing, you're getting message out there. Like, what's the experience been like for you?
It's the most freeing and liberating thing, you know, for, as you know better than anybody really, for the last few months, last 5-6 months or so, just the anxiety around just getting that one first post out. And when you suggested, you know, jumping on board with this challenge and, you know, 31 consecutive days of putting stuff out there, you know, by day 2 I was like, fuck it, let's do this, you know. And again, I think it was really important for me to see that everybody else in that community was also just, you know, not worried about the professionalism or the, you know, it didn't have to be polished. It was just about getting that message out there, whatever it looked like. It was just like a coat of armour just being lifted off, really. It was just a really, really freeing thing. And now it's, in a very peculiar way, with even in the first 2 weeks, I quite look forward to what I'm going to come up with today, kind of thing. That little piece of content creation is quite exciting now, which is a huge mindset shift for me, absolutely. You know, if I haven't posted anything for about, I think 3.5 years ago was the last time I posted anything. So to now do something on a daily basis is mind blowing. Yeah.
Oh, you're smashing it, man. Steve was saying to me actually before this conversation that he was actually trying to go for two a day.
Yeah.
But his partner Claudia was like, no, reining you back, just making you stay sustainable, which I love. But you know, it's amazing what happens when you get out of your own way.
Yeah.
It's amazing what happens when you can start to flex that courageous muscle.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because, you know, I guess when you are on your own, you're like, shit, like I'm kind of doing this by myself. It is difficult.
Yeah.
But I think even for me, it's like just seeing everyone bravely just jump into the ring. It's like, it's awesome. So, and I think it's only going to get better, you know, for you and for everyone really, because through the reps, the skill and the nuance develops. Like your ability to speak on camera will get better. Your ability to angle the video or to think of an idea, and the muscle of creation, the time it takes you to have an idea and to bring that idea into reality shortens.
Yeah.
Because it used to take, like I used to have an idea, I used to write it down and just think about it until I was blue in the face. And it take me so long, and even like getting it out on paper was very difficult. But it wasn't through until I had volume of repetition that eventually it was like, oh cool, idea, boom, let's go, let's shoot it, let's post it, and we're on to the next one.
Yeah, and I think it's like, you know, using the training analogy, you know, you wouldn't expect to be good in the gym at bench pressing after one day. So, you know, it's exactly the same. It is that repetition. It's putting in the hard yards that refine any process, really, don't they? So I think, as I say, certainly I've learned a lot. You know, my brain has been fried on a daily basis for about 6 months now. So actually, to be at this stage where so much is in place now, so much of it makes sense. You know, every day's a school day. Every day's a learning day, isn't it? You know, so to actually to enjoy that process, to learn the things that you know, that take me down a rabbit hole of stuff that I just never would have dreamt of, and it may be about how to use a microphone or how to, you know, edit a video or whatever it is. You know, I think all things that I never really would have thought I would have ever enjoyed, but I really do actually now. It's a really cool process. You're onto something for sure.
Mate, that's a huge win, bro. That's a huge win. I'm super chuffed to see all of the growth that you've been through over the last few months. So where are you now? Like you've got your, you're building a system. You've got your ebook has been completed.
Yeah.
Age of Stability, which is awesome. The link and the pages are almost ready. So what sort of what are you looking forward to now? Like what's on the horizon for your business and Age of Stability?
So yeah, hopefully within the next probably 2 weeks, I think. So I disappear, heading off to Thailand on next week into a meditation retreat. Hopefully by the time I come out of that, I'll be there for 8 days and come out of that and hopefully in a position then to channel people's interest into what I have to offer, really. And whether that be through physical health, rehab, fitness advice, strength training, mindset, all that sort of package, really. It'll be nice to actually, to do that. Having done it for a number of years face to face with clients now, to be able to take that into an online space is really exciting. Yeah.
Awesome. And my last question is, what does bravery mean to you?
Showing up. Just showing up, and just think sticking with the initial intention. I've had a lot of wobbles over these last 6 months where there have been days where I've just like, what, just close the laptop. I'm just not doing this shit. I can't do this. And actually now, bravery is very much about, I committed to this. I'm going to stick with it. It's something I've wanted to do for a long time. And again, I can't thank you and your team enough for all the support and the commitment that you turn up and show on a regular basis as well. So, yeah, it's about that consistency. Yeah.
Commitment, that's the one.
Absolutely.
Steve, thank you, brother.
Thanks, Benny.
Let's go get some food.
Absolutely. Yeah. Cool. Thanks, mate.